Hey, I'm Mara, President of JEF Munich, and we're meeting today Ugo, President from JEF Belgium. First of all, I wanted to ask you, how are you and how do you deal with the situation in your country or your region?
Hi, Mara. I'm Ugo. Well, I'm President of JEF Brussels, not Belgium.
Oh,
Although,
okay. Sorry.
no, it's fine, it's fine. But Annalena is doing an amazing job. I'm doing great. Unfortunately, I'm not in Brussels right now. I've moved for confinement in London, but of course, I'm keep having track of what is happening with the board. All of us are doing great. This initiative of going online is wonderful, and of course, JEF keeps us busy. Personally, I moved to home working, so it's great. And I think like everybody, a lot of time to cook and to try a nice experiment, to get some excitement in this monotonous life.
Yeah, that's that's like what all these people are doing at the moment. I think everybody is going to be a perfect cook afterwards. But what impact do the measures against SARS-CoV-2 have on your personal and social life? Also, maybe you can compare the situation in England, like London, and in Belgium.
Of course. Well, this is very funny because actually I'm French and I moved to Brussels and now I'm in London. So there is kind of a small range of different EU countries. Well, I think the main impact is to going online. Either it's with work, in France, going home working was being basically sleeping at home. And from now on, it's something you have to do. For JEF, webinar and stuff were like this. That was just before 4 to 5 people. And now it's just the basic event we have. And even with friends, with family, this is something wonderful, celebrate the birthday of your grandfather on Skype with the whole family. Usually it's a call, each of us call for 15 minutes, and now we spend an hour and a half. So, confinement is really going online. About the measure and the governmental measure, the main thing we can see from here, and that was in Brussels, in JEF Brussels board, we have 2 Italians. And what we noticed was crazy. They gave us early warnings, guys, this is coming. We need to do something. We, JEF Brussels, we decided to act the Wednesday after a lot of thinking, because we were just no, this is not coming, this is only in China and stuff. And then the Thursday, that was in Belgium, the Prime Minister speaking and closing everything. And then on Friday, or rather on Tuesday in France, Macron gave a speech and that was confinement. And then 10 days after, a week after, Bojo implement the confinement here. So that was crazy because everybody was just well, you have to do it. You have to do, and it's not happening. And what we clearly can see from here is the EU had to do something. And although there is no strict competence on health, well, there is guidelines and yeah, there is roadmap, and the EU had to do something. You cannot implement confinement in some country and not in others.
Yeah, and as you already mentioned it a bit, so maybe do you have any wishes or expectations of Europe, like the European Union?
Well, we're federalists. Of course, we have many expectations. And as federalists, it's very easy a very easiest way to say is most of our expectation, our national expectation, go to the EU. But right now, and if we have to be realistic to what is the situation today, it's a member state that have the possibility to do anything. So they have the competence on health, and they are the one that can give back or give the competence on health to the EU. So yes, I have any wish is that member states stop being so selfish and start to think about implementing a common strategy. I would say even a roadmap. We've seen this roadmap on deconfinement and all the noise around it. Basically, it was supposed to be published. It was supposed to be written member state must to do this, must to do this. And a lot of countries, France first, it's not the North country are not always evil. But France say, no, we are going to give our deconfinement plan 2 days after the day you were supposed to publish it. Please give us some days. And so, of course, the Commission said yes. And then a week after, you see the roadmap on deconfinement, and the only thing you can see is member state can do this or should do this, the whole phrasing and stuff. So the EU is to blame, for sure, because everybody is to blame on what happened, because we needed to act way before. But the main responsible for this crisis are the member states.
Yes, and so just like concerning this point, are you satisfied with the solidarity in Europe?
Same. You're asking a federalist. Of course not. I want more. I want more solidarity. But now let's have a look back of what was the solidarity. If you're talking about health, at first, selfish member state. So of course not. Solidarity within European country, I'm not satisfied at all. Solidarity within the EU. Well, you have a new fund, Rescue. You have almost 3 trillions of euros of solidarity. So the economic response is pretty there. We're talking about exceptional measures, and it's wonderful. Like the EU, the EC is implementing a lot of regulation, a lot of money, and a lot of open-mindedness to make the solidarity happen. But again, the one that are responsible both on the budget and on the health competence are the member state. So yes, as long as you have member states that want to protect their population and not the population of the EU, you will have problems and you will lack of solidarity.
Yeah, but if we're talking about this crisis, it's quite hard at the moment, but do you see a chance that something will good derive out of this crisis afterwards? Like if at some time we'll pass on to a normal life, you think that the European Union could be strengthening, or would it be like a breaking point for the European Union?
I think there is 2 levels of answer. The first one is like pan-European on the EU level. On the EU level, of course, your Germany are aware of this. Your German are aware of this. Next semester is going to be your semester. Merkel has a really, like, we've all talking about Corona bonds, North, the evil North against the good South for us because we're a Soviet country, but probably the opposite for you, and that would be very interesting. But basically, no Corona bonds for now. Well, we don't care about Corona bonds, but Merkel say, what about a huge MFF? It would be awesome. It would be a very positive signal. Why? And as federalists, we need to take the little step of money, functionalism. Like, okay, we don't have Corona bonds yet. Maybe on another form, and honestly, I don't care about the name. But if we move the MFF proposal from 1% to 2%, then not only is going to be implemented in the next 2 years, but on the next 7 years. And in 7 years, when it's going to be, but the MFF was exceptional because of COVID, and hopefully in 7 years, COVID won't be there anymore. But we will tackle, the Green Deal and stuff like this. So maybe we will need 2% or 3%, This is the way. It's very hard to give back, It's hard to give more money, but as soon as it's done, member states are used to, The second level is the citizens level. And it's not always citizens, but first initiative and between France and Germany. Alsace was really hit by the COVID. German took some patience. This is great. And even at the European level, the citizens, everybody is going online. And this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. For the first time in a while, for the first time in our generation, we see what are borders, implementing borders. As a French, as a Spanish, as a Belgian, I cannot go back to my country. I cannot move anymore. Why? What is this? What is this mountain when usually from Strasbourg to Kiel, you used to proceed to go buy some drinks or on the way around to visit the cathedral, So the first time in our generation, we see what is borders and we see what Europe's give. And in the meantime, we have expectation, saying like, oh, we wanted Europe to do more solidarity. Yes, but member state. So you see, there is this whole energy coming from and dynamic coming from the citizens going online, us talking. Before COVID, we won't have this exchange, and it would have been online, and we can see coming from all over Europe. So this is a very, very good opportunity, both on the EU level, mostly about budget and competence, and on the citizen level, because there is this huge dynamic.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think also that only thanks to due to COVID-19 we are talking, and it's like a great opportunity even if the situation is so bad actually. But yeah, thanks a lot. It was a pleasure, and stay healthy, stay European.
Of course.
And we'll stay in touch.
Well, thank you, Mara, and see you very soon.